Hello and welcome to the 13th Tuesday night Pell session training video. Tonight, being the 13th, I would like to talk a little bit about luck. Now, in fighting, luck does occur. You do have the instances where your opponent just stumbles, you have your opponent gets distracted, and so forth, and you can get lucky and win the fight. That's not something that you should rely on, however, there is another form of luck. Basically, many years ago, about 20 years ago, I read a paper, an article by Richard Wiseman, where he discusses the concept of luck and why some people seem more lucky than others. And he did a very quick experiment with a number of people. Again, this is not highly scientific, but still it illustrated an important point. Basically, what he did is he got a whole bunch of people in who considered themselves either lucky or unlucky, and he got them to read through a newspaper. He asked them to count the number of images in the newspaper. The unlucky people took about 2.5 to 3 minutes to do this. The lucky people took 10 to 20 seconds. The reason the lucky people managed to get the task done so much quicker was on the second page of the newspaper. The article actually read, "There are 30 images in this newspaper, you can stop counting." And so what it actually highlighted a lot more was what people who consider themselves unlucky can quite often focus in on the task that they're doing right at that moment and not see the general opportunities around them. This again, I don't want to dissuade people of the idea of just general luck, but this is a concept that I found really fascinating and is something that I try to do in my fighting. How do I bring it into my fighting? Well, the key here is to not get fixated on one or two things of what you're trying to do, but instead keep your mind open to the opportunities that are coming in around you and quite often what your opponent is giving you. What this means is maybe you're working on a specific shot, maybe a nice sidestep wrap into your opponent. When you're there fighting your opponent, this shot is sitting at the top of your head. You've got it in there, you want to try it out, you want to use it. And so what invariably happens is you force that shot to occur when it doesn't really need to occur or when it's not going to really work. You're looking for the opportunity to use it, you're focusing in on that one shot and try to put it into use as soon as possible. That's a natural thing of training. However, we can get into the same mindset in tournaments and outside of training, or even when we're just playing around, where we will focus in on one or two small things about the fight and lose the vision of the entire forest around us. So, how do I try to combat this? Firstly, when I go into a fight, I try and not fixate on any one thing about the person I'm fighting. I won't look at them and say, "Oh look, I think this shot is super open, I'm going to go for that," because then I will get fixated on that shot and I will lose the other opportunities. Instead, I will go in with a fairly broad kind of to-do list of things I want to do, and I will let that just sit loosely in the back of my head and just let the fight progress as it wants to progress. And then I am thereby more open to actually take advantages if my opponent steps a specific way or moves or drops their shield, or I notice something during the fight. I am more open to actually take that opportunity and get the kill. And that makes me seem more lucky in a fight when I'm not actually that lucky. My sword just quite often happens to be in the right place. However, there is a thing we can do on the Pell to encourage the luckiness of our fighting style and also when out there training. And this comes down to shot selection and not over committing to any particular motion. If you're going to guarantee yourself the kill, certainly, by all means, commit 100% to the kill. However, an opening shot is usually not a killing shot once you get above a certain skill level. So instead, what I tend to do is I tend to try and throw as slowly as possible to get myself moving and my opponent moving, and only once I've got them off that position and into a new one do I go in and try to exploit and make advantages of any of the lucky gaps that they have there. And to allow me to do this, what I've practiced a lot on this Pell, and we have discussed this previously with some of our stances, is moving through guards and positions that allow me to roll into almost any position from there. This means that should I be blocking a shot here but a gap opens up elsewhere, I can fully take advantage of that gap and I'm not locked into a specific Pell routine, a specific set of shots. Now, in some ways this is quite an advanced thing to do, and it'll take a little bit of time for you to do it. However, you can train your brain to start looking at these shots. And the way I suggest you do it is, once you have had a bit of a fight with someone, once you've finished the entire fight and have come to sit down again, have a chat to that person or to somebody else on the sideline and describe the fight to them. This might sound a little bit strange, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep us A, aware of the fight, but B, not fixated on any one item. And what you'll find is over time of describing things to people, you'll get a much better ability to just in the back of your head keep track of what is actually happening in the fight and not focusing down into just throwing that sword forward as fast as you can or moving that shield as fast as you can. Then what we want to do is, what you'll find is while you're in the fight, you'll start realizing and spotting things about your opponent. You'll realize, hey, that gap is open, I could hit them there. Now, the key at this point is to not fixate on actually hitting them there. Sounds a bit weird, but this again comes down to this whole luck. You are now getting yourself more open to the opportunities, but likewise, don't fixate on the opportunities you've missed. Instead, just go, oh, I've noticed that, couldn't take full advantage of it at the time. Cool, I'm making progress, I have noticed that. Keep thinking about the whole fight, looking for those opportunities and those motions. And that way, what will gradually happen is, instead of getting frustrated that you're not getting it there fast enough or you're not quite moving exactly right, your brain is getting rewarded for seeing those opportunities, and you'll start being able to see them a little bit quicker and get into more general positions to take advantages of those gaps and those openings. And what you'll do there is you will create your own luck. All right, that's a bit more of a wordy Pell session than normal, but it was a good opportunity to put a bit of philosophy behind my fighting style and what I'm looking to do. And to some degree, I'm also hoping that people will be able to get out there and start fighting again, and hence be able to put some of these more general kind of topics to use rather than just all this Pell work. Anyway, stay safe, and I hope you have a good one. Catch you later.